Hello, and welcome to the Thyroid Warrior Podcast. I'm Ebony, and I'm here as your wellness facilitator. I'm going to be sharing my experiences in managing Hashimoto's disease. I really hope that it'll help you on your personal journey. Keep in mind, however, this does not substitute for medical advice. It is only for your information and motivational purposes only. Now, let's get started. Hello, friends. I'm so excited. I'm grateful and I'm thankful primarily for you. And couple announcements. First things first, joyfulebony.com is now live and you can go there and check out all of my resources. They're called My Favorite Things. If you want to listen to my podcast episodes, you can go there. You can continue to listen on your favorite podcast platform, but you also have an option to go to my website as well. I'm also starting to announce, and you guys heard it here first, different services. So if you need some additional support with your thyroid disease journey, I am offering for a limited time my coaching services again. So if you guys want to get in on that, you can head to joyfulebony.com and I'm more than happy to walk you through the process to get you started living a happy, healthy, and joyful life. Also, I am now offering personal training services. And even if you're not in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, I also have virtual options available for you, as well as virtual classes and in-person classes. The other thing that I also wanted to let you guys know about was I want to hear from you, and I also want to feature you on the podcast. So the way that this is going to work is naturally, I have to hear from you. So if I see that you are interacting with me on Joyful Ebony, we can definitely have a conversation because I want to lift you guys up and I want to show how hard you're working. So on Instagram as well, in my profile, there is a link to the thyroid issues call. And you can simply go there and enter your information. And also that link is bit.ly/thyroid issues call. And that's just free for my listeners, for my followers, because I want to get on a call with you and just start hearing more about your thyroid disease issues. I can't wait to hear from you. Hello, friends. I want to talk to you about finding your joy. Now, this is something that a lot of people often look at me and think, you have so much energy. How do you do it? Why do you have so much? And why do you have so much? And let me just start off by saying that was not always the case. And I've said this when I talked in the podcast episode about protecting your energy and all that stuff. Like, it took a long time for me to get here, and I've had an incredibly challenging year, but I started realizing some things throughout that time, and I want to share those in more detail with you today. And I suffered with a lot of self-worth, self-esteem, and just issues with understanding what I wanted and who I really was. And for a really long time, I had to be very serious. I had to think about every permutation of a problem that could potentially happen in my life, and I had to find the solution before it would even happen. And that contributed to me just being burned out. And I think it's part of a lot of the stress and anxiety that I experienced, which for me triggers my thyroid disease. So I want to share with you 4 things, maybe 5. It depends on how they kind of evolve. 5 is in my back pocket though. I want to share with you these tips that I had to work through in order to really find my joy. Because for so long, I was so miserable and I feel like I lost who I was as a person. And it just didn't work out. It did not help any of the relationships that I was in, whether it was my marriage or my friendships. It did not help me communicate well with people. And I myself just struggled with trying to define who I was. So one of the first things that I needed to do was I needed to combat all of the fears that I had with truth. Because for so long, I told myself that I wasn't good enough. I said that I'll never be able to get to X point because I'm sick. Or I started to believe that I would never be able to accomplish A, B, and C because I would always just be sick. Or I said I would never be able to train and to become a personal trainer or to exercise to the point that I am now because I have a thyroid disease. I need to get used to the fact that my joints would hurt. But after a while, and my mentor actually told me this, and I put it on my monitor to constantly remind myself about it. So on the days where I'm struggling with those things, I write down what my fears are on one column, and then on another column, I write the truth to that. Because we also live in a world of social media, and people have absolutely no problem ripping you a new one. And so it's very important for you to be solid in who you are, whether it's as a person, as a friend, as a mother, as a wife, anything. You have to be confident in who you are. And I've gone through this personally, and I want to make sure that you have that reminder of this is what's important, and this is who you are, and this is the reality about how far you've come, and I don't want you to lose sight of that. The second thing is creating a routine, and I've talked about that in this series of why that's important, because it just minimizes the potential for stress in your life. And I talked about this on an Instagram Live the other day. I got up, I was ambitious, I was excited. I exercised, I came back, I spilled water all over me, and then I spilled coffee all over me. And then I poked myself in the eye with my eyeliner, and it was a mess. I was like, you know what? I'm over it. This is why I go to work looking like who done it and what for? Because this is too much. It's too much. But at the same time, what I also had to look at was, although I was discombobulated for that period of time, I laid out my clothes the night before to get up to go exercise. I had my work clothes laid out, and I also had my lunch packed. So despite that chaos, I could bring myself back to center and focus on what needed to get done. And I ended up leaving with little problems and little issues after that, and I had a great day. The third thing that I really want you to focus on is remember how far you've come and celebrate that. Learn how to celebrate the little things and the small wins, because we can think that we're going to do all of these things, but sometimes we create goals and visions and dreams that are so big, we don't process through how to break them down into smaller, more actionable items. So by the time we get to this point in the year, we're burned out. And that is why, from my experience, I've seen it in myself as well as other people around me. That's why it's so easy to fail on those New Year's resolutions that we create, because we don't create stopgaps. We don't create a way to kind of assess whether or not we're quote unquote doing well with that item, and ultimately we fall short and then we beat ourselves up, and that vicious cycle continues over and over and over again. And I want us to break that, because you can live your life so much happier and more joy filled when you start to celebrate everything that happens. And you might think, well, that's kind of juvenile to think about it that way. Like, I'm not a child. I don't need to be celebrating the fact that I got up this morning and put my clothes on. Well, remember when that may not have been a possibility for you, or something that came easy. Or sometimes I celebrate the fact that I actually iron my clothes in the morning. And it's not because I want to pat myself on the back for doing something that I should do as an adult. No, it was hard for me to stand up long enough to iron my clothes at one point. It was difficult for me to climb a flight of stairs at one point. There was a time in my life where getting out of bed was a struggle. So every day when I'm able to do those things, I celebrate it, because I remember when I was in college, I used to literally sit at every flight of stairs that I walked up because it felt like my heart was going to explode. And that is why you will see me smiling, and you will see me happy and laughing and giggling. And that was really the impetus behind Joyful Ebony, because it took me so long to get here, but now that I'm here, I celebrate it. I literally just came home after spending the night at my friend's house, and I left my refrigerator door open. All my food went bad that I prepared for this week. But rather than looking at that as, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wasted all that food, and going down that cycle, I thought, you know what? Technically, I prepared my breakfast, lunch, and dinner through Thursday. So even though today is Wednesday, in theory, I only lost one day. And when I think back to the cost of preparing everything and what I spent on things and how much each ingredient cost to prepare that meal, I didn't lose as much as I thought I did. Yes, it stings that I had to toss out that food, but at the same time, I'd rather toss it out than get sick, because I wanted to think, well, it should be, no, just throw it away and be done with it. I don't like to waste food at all, but I also don't think it's worth it to get sick. So I choose to look at it from a positive perspective, because again, I sit down and I reflect, well, I used to waste food a lot, and I used to buy food and things unnecessarily. At least now, I didn't waste hundreds of dollars of food that would have been in my refrigerator in years past. So I constantly remind myself to look at the positive side of things when things go wrong, honestly, because it snaps me out of that negative self-talk and that negative mindset so that I can continue to move forward. The fourth thing is slow down, like slow down in real life. Because again, I used to be an overachiever as well. And I also used to go because I thought I had something to prove, because I was sick. So I would often stay up really late or be the first person in the office so that I could prove that I was working, to show people, like, yes, I'm a hard worker. And guess what happened? I burned myself out. Now, my brain starts to shut off at 3 o'clock. And after that, I only do tasks that I don't need to really think about at that point. And it also required me to sit down and assess, when are my energy levels highest during the day so that I can be most efficient with my time. And for me, I know that that is between 6 o'clock in the morning and 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Once I start getting in the afternoon time, it's not that great. However, I know that once I get home, because I'm at home, I'm happy, I'm excited to be there, I get another burst of energy and I can continue to do more work if I want to, or I exercise or just watch a movie. But I allow myself that flexibility and that freedom to just take things one step at a time. Because I used to need to know the plan. I used to need to know, what are we doing? When are we doing it? How are we doing it? And now there are times when I just go with the flow. And sometimes my plans change. Sometimes things don't go the way I want them to. But again, because I have that routine and that framework in place, I don't feel so scatterbrained. And I have gotten so much better at writing things down, and I don't forget things as much. So all of those things work together for me to bring back joy. So I challenge you this week to take stock and take an inventory. What are some of the fears that you have, and how can you combat those things with truth? Do you have a routine? And if you don't, I highly recommend that you sit down and write one down in terms of, what's your morning routine? What's your evening routine? How do you get the kids ready for school? How do you get yourself ready for an event or things that you have to do? Always think about gratitude. Start your day with it. And when things go wrong, bring your mind back to, well, this could have been worse, or look at how far I've come. And lastly, just take some time to slow down. I want you to know that you don't have to kill yourself trying to do all the things and be all the things for everyone. And remember, I always say it, you can't be someone else's something if you're nothing for yourself. So friends, I want you to really and truly think about these things today, and feel free to tag me at Joyful Ebony across all social media platforms. I really want to hear how you're going to implement these things so that you can start living a happy, healthy, and joy-filled life. And with that, be happy, be whole, and be well. Take care. Okay, Thyroid Warriors, get out there and take things one step at a time. Remember, be great, reflect on your triumphs, and as always, be well. Take care.